You got yourself a storage unit. Now what? Hi everybody, it's me, Curt Strutz, here today with Storage Scores, right here on Storage Treasures. Now clothing's something, if you have bought in any number of storage units, or even one storage unit for that matter at auction, usually you wind up with clothing in a lot of cases. Some people do not like the clothing, some steer away from the clothing. I just want to go through today, I've got a basket of clothing here that I did pull out of a storage unit, processing it right here in front of you guys. We'll show you what we're looking for in clothing, what we can sell, what we can resell, and what we need to donate or recycle in most cases. I'm going to grab the basket right here, lift it up. All right, we got our basket of clothes here. I'm actually going to put on some gloves. Always a good idea when going through clothing. I've learned that the hard way sometimes. You'd be surprised how many people actually throw away soiled clothes, especially little kids' clothes. Sometimes you can get some interesting objects out of there. Take some of the clothing that's going to be going to the recycler. I'll put it in the basket here. Hopefully there's some good stuff in here. We'll pull out the good pieces of clothing. Those are typically sold on eBay in most cases. And you always kind of have that mid-level stuff that's not quite eBayable, but it's not quite trash-worthy or recycle-worthy. It's great material for thrift shops, for rummage sales, for flea markets, anything like that. So I typically process through 3 different grades. Starting here, we've got some older stained sweaters. We're just going to give those and donate those out. I don't know what in the world this is, but it's ripped already. That's going to get a little tossed out. Those are literally just, yeah, stained, gross. Kind of hard to really get too much out of some of this stuff. Okay, here we go. Here's an example. Hopefully this is okay. We got brand name here. Brand name is something you always want to look for. And there's the little Ralph Lauren Polo slogan right there on the sleeve. We have a little kids Ralph Lauren Polo sweater here. From what I can see, it appears to be in really good condition with gentle laundering. One to go ahead and put up on eBay. So I'm going to set that one aside for eBay sales. I got a very outdated suit that's kind of junk. Another good example. Yeah, Michael Jordan. Any type of clothing, especially kids' clothing. This is in really good shape too. Watch Jordan stuff. There's a lot of counterfeit and fake Jordan shoes especially, and clothing out there. This is actually legitimate. Another great piece again too. This would definitely go on eBay. Here's an example of something we'd probably want to send off to a thrift shop or flea market, something like that. Just a nice little basic sweater vest, not a brand name. Reason this one particular would be a tougher sell on eBay. It's a very simple piece, but the main thing about eBay you want to make sure of. Brand names, brand names, brand names. That's critical. We're dealing with a brand here that I've... Town and Country or something like that. A brand that I've never really heard of before. Again, not a brand name type of a situation. It's not going to sell very easily on eBay. In fact, if you did sell it, you'd probably be lucky if you got maybe $1 for this garment on the eBay circuit. As a result, it's really not worth going through the time, effort, by the time you pay all those eBay fees for that. When we're generating as much garbage as we tend to generate out of these storage units, we need to make sure we can recycle as much of it as possible. Recycling clothing does not make you very little, if zero money. In fact, I don't make a penny off of the recycled clothing. It's strictly for the fact of giving it back to the environment and being able to recycle and reuse it. In fact, I've actually got quite a bit of clothing lined up. The rest of this, I can tell you right now, is going to pretty well go off to the recycler. I use a company called Usagain. Now we're going to go ahead and run that over to their facility right now and make a delivery so they can actually take a full trailer load of clothes off my hands to free up some space so I can bring in more inventory at the next auctions. Hey Matt, how are you doing?
Good, Curt. How are you?
Excellent. Glad to be here today. Can you tell us about your organization? As you know, I like to bring a lot of my clothing here. It gets recycled. Get rid of a lot of that clothing and put it to good use. Tell me what you guys do here.
Sure. Usagain is a recycling company, and we focus primarily on shoes and clothing. EPA estimates about 85% of used clothing is discarded into landfills. What Usagain does is try to tap that resource, take those clothes and remove them from landfills and provide that clothing to markets where it's reused. The process of the clothing that comes into our facility, we separate shoes from clothing. Clothing we put into an industrial baler.
Oh, hold on. Oh, there you go. Thanks. Hey, you're welcome, man.
Any donations?
The baler condenses the clothing and creates a rectangular bale, which weighs somewhere between 900 and 1,000 pounds. Stack the bales of clothing and we stack the cap sacks of shoes, and when we get appropriate quantities of those, we get in contact with the broker. The company collects approximately 1 million pounds of reusable clothes every week.
How much of that is mine?
Not quite 1 million, but we appreciate every bit we get from anybody.
I'm closer to maybe 500 to 1,000 maybe.
Perhaps.
Yeah, okay.
The vast majority of the clothing and the shoes that we get, we're able to reuse.
Definitely something that anybody who purchased a lot of clothing from estates, from storage auctions, from things like that, would be a great opportunity to find a clothing recycler such as Usagain. So what's nice too is you guys actually have boxes right in the community where I work out of. So there are times where you're able to come by and actually pick up loads of clothing that I have, which is really helpful for me too.
Absolutely.
It's right on the route, so that works out good.
Right, and a list of our locations is available through our website. If you enter a zip code, it can tell you local boxes where clothing and shoes can be dropped off.
How many states are you in?
We're in 17 states. It's possible to contact Usagain, and we can even arrange to put a collection site at the storage facility.
All right. Well, hey, I appreciate the opportunity to come here today. Thanks for giving us a tour of the place.
Well, you're welcome.
And I'm sure I'll see you back again in another week or so.
Very good,
All
Kurt.
right. Thank you, Matt.
All right, thanks.
Well, thanks for joining us here today on Storage Scores. I'm Curt Strutz. Score big.